This is the state in which I currently have the game. Um, there are two Steam achievements that are secret that I have not unlocked nor determined how you would unlock them yet because they're secret. Now, I don't necessarily respect Steam achievements a lot, but there are they are some sort of indicator as to whether or not you've discovered everything there is to discover in the game. If there's a whole bunch of Steam achievements that you haven't triggered, then it's likely that there's a whole section of the gameplay you have not explored yet. One of those two is called No, and it's a relatively common one to trigger. The other one is called She Will Never Exist, and it's somewhat less common to trigger it. In fact, it's the second least common above getting the perfect poems. Now, Steam achievements, how many people have achieved them, is not a good representation of how difficult they are, because there are a lot of guides out there. There are a lot of tutorials about how to get all the achievements. I haven't looked at any of those because I'm trying to do a Let's Play, right? So trying to make it so that you can tell how I would solve these puzzles. So one person solves them and then everybody else does it too, right? It doesn't necessarily mean it's easy if a lot of people have solved it. So those two may not be easy to trigger. There seems like something that I would trigger in the main game, which kind of is not very motivating because I know the main game quite a bit. I don't really want to go back in there again. I tried deleting Monica before, when she presents that poem with save me and then delete me, but it appears you cannot delete any of the characters while you have already began a main game until you get to just Monica, and then you can delete Monica. Which would indicate you can only delete Monica then or before the game even starts. Unless there's some little pocket where I'm allowed to delete Monica before then, but you would think it would be at the presentation of that poem, but at the presentation of that poem, as I showed last recording, I couldn't do it. So those are the two that are important. Of course, I haven't completed all the side stories and unlocked 100% of the data because I haven't done those yet, but those are pretty straightforward to know how to do and what to do. So those are the two mystery achievements that haven't occurred, which are again, it's just a Steam achievement, but it's some indication of something I haven't encountered yet. As far as the data collection, I'm now at 88%. My mail, I have mail dating all the way back to the 3rd. It starts on the 9th and then goes back to the 3rd. Oddly, I triggered them in exactly this order, going from the bottom up, even though this was triggered during the main game. And I believe this bottom one was also triggered during the main game, but these in the middle were triggered during the side stories. So I don't know if it's coincidence they happen to trigger them in that order, or whether or not they always trigger in a certain order, or what happens. Don't know how close this is to being all of the emails. There is no scroll bar on the right, however, nor does there look like a space for which to put one. But it's still possible that if you can get more emails in, will fit on the space, and then if that happens, a scroll bar would appear. The reason why I bring that up is I'm trying to figure out a way to figure out how many emails there are. So it's like I can, and whether or not that's related to how much space there's left on the screen to fit those emails. It's like, does it fill this up? Does it go past it? Yeah, I don't know if it's a good indicator of my progress. I presume that how many emails you've unlocked is taken into account in the percent data collected. The music, don't ever know what more there are to come, but notice how the scroll bar goes past bottom. That seems to indicate that there are this much worth more tracks that I haven't encountered yet. Because why would the scroll bar go down that far otherwise? Music. I already did. I don't know why I said that. Pictures, as I said in some previous recordings, I have all the wallpapers. I have all the poems. I have all of our assets in chronological order going forward. These should appear in the last side story. If they don't, that's going to be really interesting. These are bizarre in that they seem to be the special poems. However, last recording, I saw the special poem, quote unquote, that was just a doodle of Sayori hanging herself, and then in a scrawl, happy thoughts, happy thoughts, happy thoughts. That did not appear under the secrets. All of the ones that appear in secrets only don't contain any handwriting, only typewriting, like with a type like a typewriter. Um, which I don't know if there are other secrets besides special poems, which I presume there are not, or only some of the special poems when you get them appear in secrets. So you actually have to. I have four secrets I haven't gotten. I have to actually play the main game actually more than two times to get those four secrets, because even if I get two special poems per play, I need more than four special poems because not all the special poems are secrets. So that might be annoying to get all of. I have all the backgrounds. I have all the sketches but one with no way of figuring out what the trigger is for it. So that one's missing. And where I'm missing four of the total of 9 promos. So I got more than half of them. The first 3 are for making perfect poems. These are for deleting Monica twice. This is for picking a specific word in the poem game, from which I've played a lot of poem games. You'd think heard a lot of these if these were also specific words. But I haven't. So I don't know what this category is. Maybe it could be something strenuous, like get 3 perfect poems for Sayori in a row or something like that. It's like 100% for a character throughout the entire main game. That would be painful. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to do something that's necessary to unlock everything, and that's actually finish the last side story. So just get that taken care of. Side stories aren't very exciting. They're just something you got to do. Well, it's probably what the game's audience was most excited about when this was going to come out. But if you look at Steam, you'll realize that this is not really what people are doing, and I can see why. Um, I don't know what never of course read anybody's reviews of this, but I'm thinking that most of the target audience is going to be pretty disappointed in these. But whatever. So we're in the middle of Natsuki and Yuri's conversations on the stairs. So let's see what the history is here. Okay, so we're just talking about Natsuki's friends. You like it? I just don't worry too so much about me. It's not worth it. I'm sorry. I wish I knew how to help with social conflicts. Like how Monica can. She's good at these things. Not really. Also, I don't always want help. Sometimes it's just stuff I have to deal with myself. That's why Monica and Sayori never seem to understand. Or that's what they don't understand. Sometimes all you do is look at them wrong and they're all like, what's wrong? Is everything okay? I just want to mind my own business sometimes and decide myself if I want to talk about things. The only one who understands that is you. So you really shouldn't be hard on yourself. You're not as bad as you think. Well, the reason why people do that, Natsuki, is because oftentimes you're way too nervous to open up and say what's wrong. But you truly do. You just don't know how they're going to react. So they said to open up the door to let you. Right. Anyway, Oh, you don't need to reassure me or anything? Oh, why did I read that like it was a question? Reading is hard.
I mean that. Plus, it makes sense that someone who doesn't talk a lot would make a good listener.
Thank you. You're also nice. I'm gonna take all that and just dumb it down into one word. Being nice.
It's really hard for me. It doesn't come naturally at all. It's so weird because I always thought of myself as someone who can just say whatever's on my mind. But I feel like that only works when I'm annoyed or upset or I want to say something mean. Why am I like this? You don't have to answer that. I'm just talking to myself.
Yuri nods and remains silent. You don't sin with your mouth, you sin with your brain first, and it comes out your mouth. So, yes, if you were to say everything that's on your mind, you could say something bad, but it's nothing to do with choosing what to say, of which is on your mind. It's the problem is your mind itself. Natsuki notices her fidgeting with the pages of her book.
How come you like reading so much?
Well, I think we've already answered that, but not to Natsuki. Oh, well, a lot of reasons. Wait, I paused here because I'm thinking about. Hasn't been uploaded. I have a lot of things that haven't been uploaded. I made this short little blurb on why people like fictional stories, and I was playing The Legend of Matanui Alpha, the second of a three-parter on that at the time. And this is probably not going to agree with that at all. But I just get sucked into it so easily. It's so immersive, like I want to be part of it. Okay, yeah, it does agree somewhat. I think there are a lot of things about people in real life that make me feel uncomfortable and frustrated, especially when it comes to following social conventions and group interactions. I just don't really understand it, I have no real desire to participate. But it's different with books, it feels like I always want to be around the characters. I feel like such a strong emotional connection with them in ways that I've never felt with real people. So in that way, I can sometimes feel more real than real life. And that's exactly, yep, that's a good answer. That's correct. Okay.
Really? It's that hard for you to be around people, like, all the time?
Fairly often, especially in group settings. When people are making all kinds of conversations, saying jokes and all that, I don't know what to do, I just disengage.
Oh. Doesn't get lonely?
I don't think so. I can still enjoy spending time with people one-on-one, and I have online friends too, of course. It's like, why is it so much easier to talk to somebody when you cannot see their face?
Do you ever wish that you could be friends with the characters in your books?
All the time. Sometimes so badly that it makes my heart ache.
Yeah. Me too.
Really?
A lot.
Are we going there?
Like, more than anything.
After Natsuki mutters that, silence fills the stairwell once more. But it's a mutual silence. One full of understanding. And that's it. No new mail. Great. No new fixtures. Great, just waits in eager anticipation. I'll try to gratify that. Okay.
Hey.
Oh, hello. I almost thought you weren't coming today. This is like the secondary literature club.
Yeah, well,
Lunch is already more than halfway over. Natsuki had typically been meeting Yuri in the stairwell much earlier since it had been a good way of dodging her friends when she didn't feel like seeing them. Can you call that friends? Oh, this is your my song, your note. In actuality. Okay. Although you probably cannot actually hear the background music in my mixes. Today she's holding a large plastic container in both hands. Cupcakes?
I ran into my friends, so I hung out with them for a while.
Is that so?
Yeah. I was in a good mood today, so I figured I should, but I hadn't seen them in a while, when I had to come up with an excuse for. But I expected that.
I left out the witch entirely.
Plus, I have way more of these than I know what to do with. So I figured I would share with them too.
As she sits down, Natsuki opens the lid of her container. You made cupcakes.
You know it. It's been a while at this point, so I figured it was about time again. You can take one if you want.
The most overrated dessert in existence. Or maybe the second worst, behind regular cake. Actually, it is the worst. There are certain cakes that I actually like. Yuri takes the cupcake and carefully twirls it between her fingers. It's brown, with dark green frosting immaculately shaped into a floral pattern and topped with some kind of glittery powder. Yeah, the excessive amount of frosting that is 3/4 of an inch thick doesn't help either. How pretty. Of course, it's the worst on carrot cake. For some reason, every grocer and restaurant thinks that people like their spice cakes. Like, I'd like a little spice cake with my frosting. I just ate, so I may not be able to finish it. It's a cupcake. You've got a big reservoir here to hold stuff. Gee. Are they for the club?
Yeah, I guess so.
Like, who eats half a cupcake?
I didn't really think about that. I just made them.
That is one of my... Everyone has these food pet peeves. That's one of mine is, why would you ever eat... I actually know people that would eat half a cookie. And the cookie isn't huge. They would, like, eat half a small cookie. I just thought that because green is Monica's favorite color, right? Just, like, random information drop.
Well, yeah, but that's not really.
Yuri takes a small bite. This is green tea flavored. I love green tea.
Oh, you do, don't you? It was just a random idea I wanted to try, so... Ha 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 ha. Don't laugh at me.
I am not. I just felt happy.
Oh, sorry.
Be careful, don't laugh around Natsuki.
Usually when... Never mind. What I mean is that I'm glad.
When I'm around, when someone's laughing, they're laughing at me. Well, that's not a good attitude.
Sorry for saying dumb things again. I just wanted to do something nice. And this is something I happen to be good at. And I know what you like. Know that you like them from past experience.
What past experience? Virtual Machine 1? What? Yuri turns red, recalling the time she treated herself rather generously to Natsuki's cupcakes. Okay. Ironically, her mouth is too full of cupcake for her to stammer an excuse, so she just settles for a disapproving look. How did you get into baking?
Oh, well, I don't know. Just always appealed to me. Well, a few years ago, I read this one manga with a lot of baking, so I got like super into it for a while. I was probably making stuff almost every day.
You know why I bake stuff? So I can eat it.
But it's something that I always knew I liked anyway. It's like baking is like art, but when you get good at it, it gets more delicious too.
That might not be the 100% the reason why I bake things. I'm struggling to imagine myself putting my heart into something so artistic knowing that it would just be eaten afterwards. Yuri, that's the point. What? So you would just be more efficient about it, just eat the ingredients. Swallow a raw egg.
Yeah, maybe you're too practical for it.
I think I prefer to be on the receiving end.
That's my other favorite part about it. It's the approval that I get when other people eat my baking and think it's good. It's something I can do that makes a lot of people happy, like unconditionally. Everyone is always so thankful, and in that moment, you get to be like the bringer of joy. I don't know, it just makes me feel,
Valued.
yeah, I guess that.
So you're able to make up with your friends today?
Wasn't really anything to make up with them about. We weren't fighting or anything.
You weren't? Maybe I misunderstood.
It only turns into a fight if I lose my cool, and that's not unnecessary drama. It only makes things worse.
So they're not going to stop?
I mean, it only happens sometimes anyway. It's just the way they are. I'm the only one who ever has a problem with it.
Right, they don't think anything of it, they're just having fun.
It's not worth it. Especially since I have somewhere to go now when I don't feel like hanging out with them.
Oh, I see. The cupcake's empty foil wrapper audibly crinkles as Yuri clenches a fist. I'm glad that situation is resolved. And that you don't have to avoid them anymore.
Yeah, me too. And I don't have to bother you during your alone time anymore. I'm sure you have a lot of reading to catch up on.
Yeah.
I know that cupcakes are basically nothing compared to all the stuff you've done for me. But it's the best I can do. So you can have the rest of them.
Wow, I could not read that line.
So you can have the rest of them.
I still can't. Natsuki grabs the box and slides it over to Yuri's feet. Yuri stares at the box. Then she shakes her head and slides them back. You should save them for your other friends.
But I made them for you.
Natsuki's voice whines as she protests. I mean, they're heavy. I know. And I like them very much, exactly as you thought. You succeeded, but I know you care about making your other friends happy too. And if this is the way you know how to make that happen, then I'm not going to take it from you.
No, they were for making you happy.
You make me happy. You're worth more than cupcakes to some people. That's why they want to spend time with you and be your friend. Without warning, tears pour from Natsuki's eyes. She pulls her knees to her chest and starts sobbing into her arms. CG time. Natsuki?
I'm such a bad person.
Yuri stammers, feeling panicked. I didn't mean to say something bad. Natsuki shakes her head and wipes her eyes.
You didn't. I just...
Natsuki tries to choke back her sobs but struggles to speak through them.
I just really hate myself sometimes. And it feels so wrong when you say those nice things to me. Like I don't deserve it.
I'm sorry.
No, I am. I'm so different. Oh, difficult. And I think of even a single thing about myself that somebody would like. And I hated myself for bothering you during lunch. I just thought it was my chance to be a good person, like to be nice and do the things you wrote about in the letter. I knew if I tried in the club, Sayori and Monica would be super annoying and make a huge deal out of it.
You know, I think a lot of those negative things too about myself. I never felt like a good person. I always scrutinized everything I say, and later I feel like I said all the wrong things. And I just spend so much time thinking about myself, hating myself, and feeling like everyone else must hate me too. So I understand some of that through my own experience. And that's why I wanted to write the letter and express my feelings. It pained me to see those things in someone else that I saw in myself. Natsuki sniffled. Yuri rustled through her bag and pulls out some tissues and hands them to Natsuki. Monica told me that it takes a good person to reflect on these things. The desire to improve yourself, that makes you a good person, so don't worry so much. Also, there are things about you that people would like, so...
Like what?
Well, they think playing the game... They think you make the game funnier. But that's in the meta context. I don't know if they would really want to interact with you personally. Like how you're fun for people to be around. That's very generic. And you're not shy. That's also generic. And you know, it also implies shy is bad. And you know how to make people laugh. And you're very passionate about things, and you know how to take the lead. And you care a lot about other people. And just a lot of things.
Oh. Well, now you're making me feel really embarrassed.
Well, you're the one who asked. And don't you think I feel embarrassed? Natsuki tries to hide a smile, then she sighs as it fades away. Fades again.
Every time I come here, I always think it's the last time, but then I keep coming back for some reason.
Is that bad?
Just really confusing. I mean, my friends and I go way back, so ditching them all the time feels like, I don't know.
Feels like what? Feels like making a new friend. Natsuki's voice gets quiet.
Maybe I'm scared that they'll get mad at me. I really don't know what to do.
She pauses. Yuri stares into the distance, tracing her eyes along the patterns of the floor tiles while she thinks to herself. What would you do hypothetically if your friends were happy for you instead of mad at you?
Happy for what?
Happy that your new club is making you happy.
Well, that's just not a fair hypothetical.
Natsuki says that, but with little confidence in her voice.
I always told myself that I don't rely on the approval of others to be happy. And I still feel that way, but I'm spending time with people who put me down whenever I don't have their approval. That's probably what's making me feel so confused. Because I'm threatened out of the things that should make me happy. So no matter what, it's like I have to be unhappy to be happy. It's making my head hurt.
That must make it really difficult to feel comfortable with yourself. Being made to feel like you're wrong just for being the person you are.
It really goes against everything I believe in, doesn't it? It goes against the person I want to be. I'm fed up with it. I'm fed up with a lot of things.
Natsuki presses her palms into her forehead and shakes her head.
I know what's best for me, but I keep convincing myself out of it. It's so much easier to be comfortably happy than it is to do something so scary.
To do what?
You know, to end it.
With them? Natsuki nods. I didn't think you were actively considering that as an option. With my little smile that I make.
I wasn't until recently. It's just one of those things where, like, it's been a certain way for so long that it's just you get used to it. Like, so much of you has gone into it, so much that it feels like that's just how your life is. And throwing it away is like throwing away such a big part of your life.
My throat stiffened up and now I can't do the voice. Anyway.
It makes me feel sick to think about it.
Natsuki sighs.
It's just really scary. It's terrifying.
What are you scared of?
I don't know, a lot of things. Like being alone. Not having anyone to talk to or hang out with. Not being able to replace what I have with them. And I don't want them to hate me. And I'm scared they'll hurt me for going against them.
Physically? You know, this could be solved if there was someone else that you could replace the void you're made by your friends with. But because we didn't give Monica elevated permissions, that person does not exist.
Not physically. But...
Yuri clenches her fists. Natsuki?
What?
If anyone ever thinks to cause you harm, I will unleash hell upon them. Natsuki snorts in laughter. Don't laugh at me.
Sorry, I like that. That's all.
Oh. Well, I meant it.
I know you did.
Natsuki gives Yuri an endearing look.
I needed it.
As the conversation lapses, Natsuki again slides her box of cupcakes over to Yuri.
Just take them, okay? I don't want other people to have them anymore.
Are you sure? Natsuki nods. This is not quite the right answer, but whatever.
I'm sure.
I will then. I'll enjoy them. Natsuki looks away, but a feeling of warmth spreads through her. She holds on to that feeling, knowing it will give her courage. And then Yuri eats all of the cupcakes in one sitting and ends up in a Chubby Emu video. No, it's Chubby Emu. Now, you're here first today. And you brought reading material. Natsuki is sitting in her usual spot, with this time holding a volume of manga while her lunch sits beside her. Yuri sits down as well and opens her own book.
It sucks when a good series has to come to an end. Like it's such a big part of your life, and then one day there's just nothing left. It makes you feel so empty.
Unfortunately, I'm about to experience that myself on the last book of the series.
That sucks.
There's just start another series. It's like complaining about a reboot. Yes, you would like to see more of a story with the characters you knew, but the first increment of that franchise you thought was good. That's how you got into it. So why wouldn't a reboot also be good? In a similar fashion. But there's also something satisfying about letting a story conclude. I don't know if I'd want it to go on forever.
Maybe. But there are some things that I wish could.
On the other hand, have you ever read something that overstayed its welcome?
Yeah, definitely. I can think of at least one thing I've read that got pretty unbearable like halfway through, and the ending really sucked.
Yeah, I know something like that, but I'm not going to say that I read it because I'm a bit embarrassed to go into that kind of thing.
So it sucks when something good has to end, but it also sucks when they just keep inventing more plot until you don't like it anymore.
I'll say something that James Patterson wrote for teenagers back in, I don't know. Whatever, back when I was a teenager, it was called Maximum Ride. And it just kind of just got worse as it went along. Anyway. Especially because he writes so many books that he doesn't really remember, what happened in previous installments of the books he wrote.
I guess it sucks either way.
Well, that's the nature of all things. They come to an end. The two fall silent. They slowly eat while making their way through their respective reading material. Except Natsuki doesn't seem to be touching her food at all.
You don't go out during the weekends, right?
Excuse me, what does going out mean?
Like with friends at the mall or downtown or whatever.
I'm not a total shut-in, you know.
Oh, my bad for making assumptions.
Well, that's basically those saying, yes, I do go places, but I don't want to tell you what they are. Well, I'm sure I go out less often than other people, like you and the others in the club. I don't really meet with friends and arbitrarily spend time like that. I'm usually meeting with my board game group.
Board game group.
It doesn't matter, it's just more nerdy stuff. Why you ask anyway?
I was just curious. I just realized that I couldn't picture it, so I was just curious.
Yuri looks at Natsuki and realizes that she's shaking.
Don't look at me like that.
Yeah, but she might have low blood sugar. Or high blood sugar. Sorry. Natsuki pulls her knees into her chest and puts her head down.
I can't take this.
Did I do something? Yuri gets flustered, her mind racing over what she may have said or done.
I did. I ended it. I texted them earlier, telling them.
Well, one text, they're going to think that sometime in the afternoon you're going to say, you know that text I sent this morning? Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I got really drunk or something. What, you're a high school girl? Yeah, it was a trick.
And then I blocked them because I'm too afraid of their responses. And now I feel like I'm dying inside.
Oh. I'm sorry. Totally unsure of what to do, Yuri can barely find any words of support to offer. CG time? Meanwhile, the sound of Natsuki's unusually hard breathing fills the air. And her onion breath. Then she speaks again, barely above a whisper.
Help me. I feel sick and I want to hit my head against things. Please help. I can't take this.
You may be having a panic attack. With that realization, Yuri's demeanor suddenly changes. I have experience with this, so I'll help you through it, okay? First, you call 911. Natsuki meekly nods through her rapid breath, head still buried in her knees. Yuri slides herself over to Natsuki and sits on the step beside her. Then she puts her hands on Natsuki's shoulders and tells her to go snap out of it! Can you feel my hands? Natsuki nods. Her shaking becomes much more apparent through Yuri's sense of touch. Yuri keeps her voice low and gentle. You're safe right now. You're in a good and safe place where nothing can hurt you. Natsuki nods once more. Although Yuri is only touching Natsuki's shoulders, she can practically feel her racing pulse through the base of her neck. We'll do a breathing exercise together. All you have to do is listen to my breaths and breathe along with me. Let's breathe in now. Yuri takes in a deep, slow breath. Beneath her hands, she feels Natsuki's shoulders rise as Natsuki takes a breath of her own, trying to mimic Yuri. They exhale together, although Natsuki's breath shakes on the way out. That's good. Let's keep going. Yuri breathes in once more, and Natsuki joins her. They continue like that for a few more cycles while Yuri closely monitors. Eventually, Yuri feels Natsuki rest more of her weight into Yuri's palms. What I'm wondering is, did Yuri get a panic attack, or does she know somebody else who got panic attacks? Let's focus on the physical world. All you have to do is focus on the feeling of your breasts going in and out, and the weight of my hands on your shoulders. You're in a safe and comfortable physical space. Minutes pass in silence. By now, the worst of it is past, but Yuri's determined not to move away until Natsuki prompts her to. Meanwhile, Natsuki has lifted her head off her knees, and her breathing is mostly steadied. This seems weird if you were watching as a third party and you happen to be nearby or walk by. Then she takes a final deep breath and slowly pulls herself to her feet, causing Yuri to let go. She stretches her arms.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to freak out. I just don't know what my deal is.
Well, it's called you have a human brain which has glitches, essentially. You don't have to apologize. This must be enormously stressful for you.
Is that going to keep happening?
It may or it may not. We can take measures to help prevent it in the future, but I think it will naturally get better over time. Natsuki motions to sit back down again, so Yuri moves over. Yuri turns away to pick up her open book from the dusty floor, which she had hastily set down earlier. She brushes the dust off the cover.
I don't think I could have gotten through that alone.
Well, you can't, because you don't just die. You're not alone. Feeling shy again, Yuri speaks into her own lap. From now on, you don't have to do anything alone. Until you have to dump Yuri in the same way. As she says that, Yuri tenses up. It's rare for her to openly share her thoughts, but something about Natsuki of all people makes it feel so much more natural to do so. Perhaps because, like Yuri, Natsuki is so timid and uncertain of herself. Natsuki does such a good job at hiding it that it's taken a long time for Yuri to finally realize it. And because of that, Yuri is able to deliver the reassurance that she herself would have wanted, demonstrating that you deserve the love of others. If you can accept that for the first time, then perhaps you can begin the tumultuous journey of learning to love yourself. Okay, finally the CG. They just didn't want to do a hands on shoulders CG. Do you really mean that? You're probably going to regret saying that if you do. How so?
Because I'm probably going to have a lot of free time during the weekends from now on. So you're giving me permission to be as annoying as I want and drag you around a lot of places.
I see.
But you already said it. You can't take it back now.
Well, I suppose I have no choice but to accept that responsibility then.
I know a good ice cream place.
Oh? That means you'll finally figure out my favorite ice cream flavor.
Huh? I already know it's green tea. What are you talking about?
Oh, you don't remember? The first day that you came to the club, you guessed everyone's favorite ice cream flavor, but for me, you said you had no idea.
Seriously? I don't remember that at all. Oh wait, yes I do. I said it was probably green tea.
Yuri shakes her head. It's a good guess, but my favorite is usually to get chocolate and raspberry together. Oh, well, I guess she doesn't have to find it out now.
Chocolate and raspberry. How fancy.
How was that fancy?
Oh, I don't know. That's just what I felt like saying. I feel like I should have guessed something like that.
Well, maybe next time you'll try chocolate and strawberry.
Hey, strawberry is my favorite.
What a coincidence.
I think it helps to have something to look forward to. I still have the sick feeling in my stomach, but it's easier now to convince myself that I did the right thing.
Is there anything better I could be doing?
Not that I know of. There's nothing that will make this easy for me, and you already did more than I thought anyone could. Come to think of it, we never talked about the letter you wrote. But I feel like we're way past that at this point. I don't even know what to talk about. Except that I think it helped me understand my needs a little bit better. The way I like to be treated. And the kinds of friends I want to have. That's why I wanted to start coming here in the first place, even though I was so scared of causing more problems.
Yeah, up till now, I always thought you would never actually see the whole text of the letter. Because we would have already if we would. That little one line there said, maybe there's a chance that the full text of the letter will be revealed. It's unlikely because then they have to put effort into actually writing it.
I thought it was a coincidence that you ran into me here initially.
Wrong character.
Well, not exactly.
What do you mean?
Nothing. I may have tracked you down first, with the help of Sayori.
But you said...
I was shy, okay? I wasn't ready to whatever you know I'm saying.
Well, I guess I'm glad that you worked up the courage. Even if it was in your own way. I can tell that you've been making a lot of difficult decisions. It's brave and it will make things better in the long run. I think anyone would be proud of you for it.
Anyone? You mean like you?
Yes. Like me.
You know, I could get used to this.
As long as you don't tease me too much.
Fine. Just a little then.
That's fine. I know how uncertain everything feels to you right now. But I really do think that good things are in store. Those are my honest feelings.
Thanks.
It feels nice to be...
It feels nice to be reassured.
Two girls continue their conversation through the remainder of lunch. But a new feeling hangs in the air, a feeling of greater certainty in their path forward. In just a few hours, there will be another literature club meeting, where the 4 club members will happily spend time together. We won't show this one, we'll skip to the next one. Each of them, all with their own special qualities, have something unique that they can deliver to one another. Through friendship and literature, the club members will continue to grow and find new happiness together. The end of each chapter is the start of the next. Yuri thinks to herself, since she's about to finish her long-running series, it would be best to have a new book lined up. Perhaps this weekend would be a good time to visit the bookstore. Together. That's it. That's all there is. Wow. And I was completely wrong. I said, that's it, that's all there is. And immediately was shown to be completely wrong. Okay. Well, there's more. But wait, there's more. Okay, doesn't show male in pink, but there is new mail, it just didn't show it. Row teaser. Oh, finally have row. This was sent on the 2nd, a day before, okay? Binary data in Virtual Machine 2. Yeah, the mysterious Virtual Machine 2 that we haven't heard anything about yet. I've made some new headway with Virtual Machine 2. Don't get too excited. I feel like that's kind of a fourth wall break. It's still impossible to establish any kind of stable connection. But it occurred to me that I could at least run a memory dump, do some pattern analysis routines, to see if we can decipher any digital data from their VM. I didn't want to hog all the server time on a hunch, excuse me, I burped. But I have some preliminary results that indicate the presence of binary computer systems. Wait, aren't they running this on a computer? Based on this, are you running a computer on a computer? Based on this, I'm going to schedule 3 days of server time next week to isolate any chunks of memory that appear to be binary data. Like, what data is not binary? If successful, we'll definitely be able to find some encoded text and get our first tiny glimpse of Virtual Machine 2. Don't mind me though, just keep going nuts on Virtual Machine 1, and hopefully we'll have more to share soon. Okay. Well, hopefully we'll have more to share soon, is I guess a message from Team Salvato to the fans. But maybe some of these things like 14.txt, project plan 3.txt, ddlc.txt will be a text dump from Virtual Machine 2, or the secrets. But the secrets just seem like dream journals. Yay. Let's look at we've got down to 90% of the data collected. Got a new picture, which is probably the new CG. Correct. It's the new CG. A scene from the side story, Self-Love. 2 more CGs remaining. These are probably from the main game. This is still locked. Oh, I remember this from Monica's Twitter a couple years ago. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you don't need to unlock this to see this. It's on either Don Salvato or Monica's Twitter. I like I like the concept of that. Well, it says finish all the side stories, but there's one more thing left. Okay, well, I guess I'll do... These are the same. I don't believe some of the missing directories are here, but I don't know. I haven't checked yet, so let me check. So 151 was missing. it's still missing. Okay, so the missing ones are probably still missing. 420 is missing, and 545 is also missing. I wouldn't believe that any of the ones we couldn't open yet can be opened. 030. Nope, cannot be opened. Usually these require a timestamp but I'm just like Hail Marying this 404. Nope. Don't know what the timestamp is for that. And 501. Again, probably requires a timestamp. Oh well. That's it for this one. I'll have to come back for more unexpectedly.